the pumpkin spice workshop. So I'm going to start with my my fun fold card. I'm just going to trim my zip strip off of here. Okay, and I'm going to start with let's start with the coordinating paper because that's the first page. Okay, so I'm going to trim 4 inches. And then 2 5 1/4. And 5 1/4. These ones I'm going to label. Get the pencil, sorry guys. I'm going to label them 1B. And you are going to cover these up. So this is Harbor. I'm using Harbor for my coordinating colors. This is 1D, so this is going to be 2 1/8. So I'm going to line it up 2 1/8 on my board. The rest is leftovers, and I'm going to get 2 2 1/8 squares out of this. So 2 1/8. And this is going to be the background for your sentiment. So the sentiment is actually going to be fairly small. And those are labeled 1D. Again, you're going to be covering these up with Daisy. So you can later label them right on the middle. Okay, I'm going to put those aside. That's all for the coordinating. This is the paper that I'm going to be using for my fun fold. We are going to be trimming it when we get to the workshop, so you guys will need your trimmer. You won't really need your scoring tool, except for right now. Kind of unusual. We're going to go ahead and trim it at, wow, I labeled that wrong, at 8 1/2. So 8 1/2. And then 2 of them we're going to cut down to 4 or 5 1/2 for 2 of them. So then when you score these, it will be an A2 size card. So 5 1/2, so 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. And then you will score them down the center. And it depends if you want the trees out or that out, but just so that you guys can get an idea, this is how it's going to look. You're going to see more. You're going to see more of whatever you put on the front of your card, vastly more. So you guys want to make sure that you know which way you want to score it. So I'm not so sure I know which way I want to score mine right now, so I'm not going to. I'm going to put these aside. These are all my A's. Okay, or my 1s. Sorry, those are all my first cards. Okay. Alright, this is the one sheet wonder. The paper I've chosen for this is the polka dots with the acorns at the top and then the stripes at the bottom or in the back. I'm going to go ahead and trim my zip off here. Set that aside. This one doesn't have a front back, but it does, or up down, but I do have up down lines, so it could go sideways, it could go up down. It doesn't really matter. I think I'm going to keep them vertical, so I'm going to trim it And trim 2A first, and that's going to be at 5.5. And then 2 of them at 2 3/4. So here's 2 3/4 at 5.5, 2 3/4 at 5.5, and these are going to be labeled 2A. Set those aside. Take the remaining part of my strip. I'm going to trim it down to 3 inches or 4 1/4 inches. 4 1/4. So I have just a little strip left over. And now I'm going to trim it down to 3 inches. I'm going to start at the 6th and go down to 3. Okay, so there's 2, 3 by 4 1/4, and these are 3B. Okay, those are 3s. Okay, 2.5 inch by 12 inch strip. We're going to trim 2 4 1/4. 4 1/4 that way, and 4 1/4 this way. And this is leftover. 5B, 5B. With my remaining strip, I'm going to do 3 3/4. You're only trimming a 1/4 inch off. I'm going to trim down to 1 1/4 on 2 of them. So 1 1/4. And then again 1 1/4. These are labeled 4D. Now I'm going to only trim a 3/4 inch strip off this, and I'm going to trim it on my other side over here. So there's 3/4 inch. I'll set this aside, and then I'm going to trim it down to 4 1/4. And I need 2 of these. And these are going to be labeled 3E. And these will be showing. So if you don't want to label it right in the middle, I like to label it right in the middle so I know exactly where it is. I've learned that over my little bit of time doing this. Now you can take this and you can trim it again to 3/4 inch because we need a 3/4 inch square. But I'm just going to trim another strip just like my guide shows. I'm just giving you another option. So I just want a 3/4 inch strip. So I'm going to start at 1 1/2. This way I can get 2 of these pretty quickly and easily. Okay, there's my little squares. These are going to be doved. So if you want to dove them now, you can. And these are 2E. Okay, and this is leftovers. Okay, I'm going to move on to my coordinating, my first coordinating, which I think I want paprika. Just want to take a look and make sure that I do want paprika. think so. It's paprika. So, and the reason why I did this, and I want the background of my number 4 card to be the prominent color. So choose the color you want prominent on card number 4, because this is going to be like a full background. Okay, so we're going to trim it down to 4 1/4. By 5 1/2, and you get 2 of these. 5 1/2. You're going to label these 4A. That's leftovers. I want to do this at 4 1/2. And then 2 of them at 3 1/4. And 3 1/4. These are going to be 3 A's. This one you're going to trim down to 4 inches. So you're going to trim that extra 1/2 inch off. Now you can save all these little 1/2 inchers for fun folds and make or not fun folds, but zip strips, and make tons of those. You'll see what I mean. They're really easy this time. Okay, I'm going to trim down to 2 1/4 by 4. So 2 of these at 2 1/4. And these are going to be 5C. Then I have this one, and I need 2 inches on this one. The rest will be leftovers. The other 1 1/4 is leftovers. Then I'm going to do 2 3 1/2 inch cuts. 3 1/2 and 3 1/2. And those are labeled 2B. This is shortbread. This is the second coordinating color I'm using, shortbread. Let's do 4 inches. And then 2 of them at 3 1/2. You can start at 7. These are going to be labeled 4B. The next 2 are 4 by 1 1/2. So 2 of them at 1 1/2. You can start at 3 if you'd like. This is leftover. This is 4C. 4C. And trim this at 3 1/4. By 4 1/2. So 2 of these at 4 1/2. Okay, there's that. Actually, label these on the back sides. These are going to be 5A. This is going to be 1 1/4 inch. By 4 1/4. You're going to get 2 of the 4 1/4s. These are labeled 3D. It's 4 1/4, 4 1/4. 3D, 3D. Then you have two 1-inch squares. So I'm going to trim it at 2, and then I'm going to do it at 1 and 1. Trim yours however you like for these 2-inch squares. If you want to trim the little 1/4 inch off first, that's fine. I have 2. These are going to be dubbed, so these are 2D. If you'd like to dub them now, you can. You don't have to. 2D and 2D. Okay. The remaining strip you're going to cut down to 1 3/4. And 2 of them at 5 1/2. These are going to be 5D. So again, 1 3/4 by 5 1/2, 5D. Okay, let's do Daisy. And then we'll do our zip strips. Daisy. We're going to start by 3 1/4, or 3 3/4. I'm sorry, 3 3/4. By 3 1/4. You're going to do this twice. 3 1/4, 3 1/4. These are 4E. This is a sentiment. Then you're going to do 2 at 3 by 1 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to 3 inch now. And I'm going to do a 3 inch as well. So I'm going to get a 3 by 3 square. And then I'm going to trim it in half to 1 1/2 by 3 inches. And that's 2C. I'm going to cut a 1 1/2 by 12 inch. By 5 1/2. These are going to be labeled 5D. I'm sorry, 5E. Okay, these are going to be 2 1/2. These are going to be 2 squares, so 2 1/2 squares, so I'm going to do 5. And then trim it in half at 2 1/2. So here's 3C. These other ones are 1 7/8. So I'm just going to trim it down to 1 7/8 now. And then get 2 1 7/8 inch square. This is going on your fun fold. This is your little itty bitty sentiment on your fun fold. Now if you want this to be something else, let's see what I'll get an example out to you soon so you guys can see the examples, but this is a 1E, 1E. Could also have it as an embellishment. Okay. Now the inside of your fun fold, this is going to be — you're going to do 3 3/4. So this is the very inside where your message goes. And you're going to do 2 5-inch cuts. So 3 3/4 by 5-inch. These are 1C. Let's bring the zip strips in. I have the acorn and the leaves. We're going to trim them at 4 1/4. So 2 of these are going to be 4 1/4. Sorry, bumped my camera. 4 1/4, 4 1/4, and 3-inch. I'm only going to cut one of these. Let's see, 1, 2. Yep, one of these in half from top left to bottom right. And this one I'm going to cut opposite, so I'm going to cut bottom left to upper right. And I'm going to do that on this one as well. So 2 of them at 4 1/4. So this is going to span the one side of your card. 1 1/4, 4 1/4, 4 1/4, 3 inches. Okay, again, 4 1/4, you're going to do upper left to bottom right. Just want to stay consistent on the 2 pieces, really, is what you're looking for. Leave that one alone. You're going to cut bottom left to upper right. So it's opposite of your other one, your 4 1/4 piece. And that was the 3-inch piece. And then we're going to piece these together when we get to the workshop. Okay, so you're going to be able to make 2 cards with these ones. All right, everybody, we will see you at the workshop. Thanks. Bye.